Hello again, this is video 3, GCSE English Language, Analysing Structure in a Text. The aim in this video is to take you through the process of how to analyse structure in a text. When analysing structure, you are expected to explore how the text has been organised, to identify the structural features the writer has used, and to analyse the specific or different effects of the structural features the writer has used. In the next slide, I will explain this a little bit more. So what should I explore in the text I intend to analyse? The first thing is focus. The questions you would ask yourself are, from what point of view or perspective has the narrative been told? Is it first person or is it third person? To what degree can you identify action and description or dialogue? Or is there a balance between all of them in the text? Another question is, are there shifts in the setting, the perspective, or the mood? And then, is the spotlight on any particular character or setting or settings? Another area to explore when looking at structure is the sequence, how the text has been organized. Is the narrative in a chronological order? Does it include flashbacks? How have we been introduced to the main character or probably some other characters? And how has the setting been introduced? Are there any key moments or climax? Then the next one is coherence. Can you identify any links within or across paragraphs? How are paragraphs structured? Are there long or short ones to create effect? Is there any connection between the opening and ending parts of the text? So when analysing structure in any given text, the three main things is focus, sequence, and coherence. So we can then ask ourselves, what are we identifying? Which structural features do you already know? Can you learn some new ones? Let's begin with the ones you already know. Sentences you're probably aware of. I'm sure right now you are aware of a complex sentence, a compound sentence, a simple or what some of you might consider short sentence. If you do, that's very good. If you've forgotten, I suggest that you check what they mean to make sure you understand it. However, there are some other sentences which are also important. A declarative sentence just means that you declare something, it's considered a statement. It is very important when we are analysing structure in a text. Another sentence is imperative sentence, which is a command. The next one is exclamatory sentence, and that sentence would have an exclamation mark. Then interrogative sentences. It's just asking a question. It's not the same as rhetorical question. Now there's some more structural features. Some of these you might have already known, like repetition, for example, or rhetorical question. An oxymoron, where two opposites are side by side, or a juxtaposition, where two ideas that do not fit are placed side by side. Now, you probably have heard of this, or you might have not at all. Anaphora. It's a deliberate repetition of the first part of a sentence to create effect. We will see this in the text as we go along. Then an asyndetic list. Now in this list, there will be, at times it could just be words or phrases which will not have a conjunction. So for example, if you go, when we make a list, when we get to the last one, we might say and or but or. In this sentence, it's not going to have something like that. Now again, the narrative perspectives. So is the writer, or has the writer written in the first or third person? Another one is foreshadowing. When giving an insight into what might happen later in the text, has the writer applied a feature of foreshadowing? And then flashbacks, when a past experience is remembered. Now we have immediate res, when a text begins in the middle. And then tricolon or triads, when three words or phrases combined are used to make a powerful expression to create effect. As we go on further, we have a question that's going to direct what we do today in this video. The question is, referring to the whole text, how has the writer used structure to engage the reader? Support your answer with relevant subject terminology and structural features that interest you. So let's now go on to the text. This text is again taken from the Wales Bike Tournament. This is the first paragraph of the text. Back in his room, Rahul did some breathing exercises, humming his favorite songs frequently for his heartbeat to normalize. From his wardrobe, he picked out a white ironed shirt with a black slim fit trouser he had ironed the night before. After dressing, he placed his navy blue blazer on the bed to knot his tie. Rahul's face, while glancing at himself in the mirror, beamed with satisfaction. At 15, he had already been involved in several bike tournaments, winning 2 individual trophies and 3 group medals. Reaching out for his gel tuck, he scooped a little into his left hand, applying it to his hair sparsely with the other, combing it gently. It was no ordinary last day of term. It was an important day to dress immaculately. It was a day for him to take pride in himself. Rahul had the privilege of representing his school, representing his squad, representing his country. He was going to Wales with the bike squad for a tournament, a mini Tour de France. Now that's the first part of the text. what I do now is let's see how we can analyze that. What structures can we identify? So again, I've just got part of what we've read just now. And you might see, or as you can see, there are some different colors. I wonder what you are thinking about them. What do you think this purple could mean? What can you identify? Can you remember any of the structural features? The focus, the sequence, the coherence, or some of the other structural features, sentences? What can you identify here? Anyway, let's see what you might have identified. So I just put the question there so that it's at the forefront of what we're doing. So first of all, the narrative is told from a third person's point of view. That's why we have the word rappel there. And it's building a detailed image of the character for the reader. Then we have in media res there, the phrase back in his room. And what does that tell us? That the text that we're reading didn't just start here, because if he's back in his room, some things might have happened before. And probably if you have been following these videos, you know that there has been a bit before this. So that helps us to know that it's sort of started in the middle, not at the very beginning. Now we have a complex sentence there, from his wardrobe up to before. And what does that do? It creates an image of an organized individual. We see how Rahul does his things systematically. Now we have a declarative sentence. If you remember what that means, it's just a statement. But this connects us, the reader, with this character further, because we're told that his face beamed with satisfaction. So we are already intrigued at how meticulous he's been with the way he's dressed up, how he's taken things one after the other. So you can see how the structure is, remember, the layout, the way it's been focused, the sequences, the coherence. At the end there's another complex sentence, and that tells us how old he is and the things that he's already achieved. So what does that tell us as the reader? It helps us to visualize him as a successful sports person. This is the second part of that first slide that we've read. Can you identify some more structural features here? Maybe you can pay attention to the red, the blue, the green, and the purple. Do you have any idea of what they could be? Look at it was. I know you might be saying repetition, but what else do you think it could be? Let's find out whether your thoughts are what I've also identified. So it's an anaphora there. Of course, its repetition is correct, but anaphora just lays emphasis a bit more on it was. If you can remember what that means, it's just taking the first part of a phrase or a sentence and emphasizing by repeating them. And in this case, it highlights how important the day was for Rahul. Again, the green is just there to emphasize the fact that these sentences are simple sentences. So the fact that they are being repeated, it was no ordinary last day of term. It was an important day to dress immaculately. It was a day for him to take pride in himself. So that to us informs us that this particular day is very important to the character. And of course, the reader wants to know why. We want to keep following to understand what's going on. You can see the blue there. You might have also seen that as maybe a repetition or threes or group of threes, whichever words. I say tricolon, triad. I'm just giving you some words which are not so common, so that you're not just saying repetition. Remember, in year 7, you would be saying repetition. You want to be able to change those sort of words now to just tell the examiner that you have some ideas at year 11, year 10, whichever one you are in. So tricolon, representing his school, representing his squad, representing his country. So the writer has repeated these phrases. So the reader, begins to realize there's some responsibility on Rahul's shoulders. And probably it helps us to understand why he's taken his time to get dressed, to make sure his hair is fine, to make sure his clothes are ironed, because it's an important day for him. And of course, how do we know it's an important day? Because the last sentence there, which is a declarative sentence, tells us that he's going for a tournament, a bike squad tournament. I hope this is a bit clear to you, because it's important that you do structure very well in every single board examination paper, paper 1 and 2. You will be looking at language and structure, and a lot of them are combined together. So of course you're not going to spend the whole time just looking for one thing or the other, but you want to look for important ones that you can relate to the text. And then we go on to the second part. Rahul was 8 years old when his family was invited to the Lake District for a week during the summer. Among the various activities he signed up for, the bike training was his favorite. His commitment to the training was noticeable to his impressed parents, who watched him wake up as soon as the cacophony of birdsong began every day. He threw himself into the rigor of training and participated in the endurance bike rides. On the final day of training, certificates were awarded to all the trainees during the presentation of certificates. Along with level 1 and 2 certificates, Rahul was presented with an endurance badge. This prestigious medal was awarded yearly to one exceptional, highly motivated trainee. This trainee would demonstrate the ability to endure, would participate enthusiastically, would display leadership traits consistently. Attached to the endurance badge was a 50% subsidized voucher to go towards the fee for the level 3 training session. Rahul basked in the moment, pleased to be the recipient of the award. So again, I have broken this down, and I haven't identified a lot here because of time. You will not be able to do everything. So I just took that first part there. What does that say? Can you remember the features again? Rahul was 8 years old. We've just heard that he's 15 years old. So what has the writer done here? I hope you can answer that. Let's see if you're right. It is a flashback, if that's what you got. Flashback. This paragraph is a flashback. After watching Rahul get ready at the age of 15 that morning, now we're given an insight into his development, how he trained hard at 8 years old, where it all began. And now he's representing his squad. So we see him, how do we see him? As a committed young boy. I think you saw that, hopefully you did. And then we go on to the last segment. Again, 2 areas have been colored here. Not that that's just it, but I didn't want to do everything, and I just wanted to bring out some parts that you also might be able to analyze. So the green here, this trainee would demonstrate the ability to endure, would participate enthusiastically, would display leadership traits consistently. What have you noticed there? Or what should be there that you didn't notice? Has that helped you to work out what it could be? Let's check to see if you have an idea. It's an asyndetic list. Remember, what that means is instead of an and at the end, it will not be there. And that's what happened here. So the writer's use of this list suggests Rahul is a hard-working young boy who puts all his energy into whatever he does to get the best out of the moment. And we admire him from that, because we are told that if he got the award, that means he can endure. And we could see him at 8 years old, that he would participate fully, and that's what he did. And that even at that young age, he was already displaying leadership traits. So it helps us to appreciate that. And then so this happened then. Now when we take it to where he is at the present moment, we appreciate this, and we want to actually probably want to see him do well in the next tournament that he's going for. And then the blue at the end, again, that's another declarative sentence. I'm just taking some of these bits, especially declarative sentence, so that if you don't know what they are, you can see them. I don't want you just to be saying it's a complex sentence, it's a compound sentence. What other sentences can you know? Remember, a lot of them are there. We don't have questioning in this one, what we've read. We don't have imperatives, but we do have this one, declarative. So the last statement in the paragraph shows Rahul's happiness, and the reader wants to see him achieve more awards, knowing he's committed and does work hard. As I said earlier, these are just some structural features. This is not the end, but these are some that I hope you can look at now and try, if you could, write this together as an essay to answer the question. So, your task now, an activity that you can do, is structuring your own answer using PETA. So again, the question is there, referring to the whole text, how has the writer used structure to engage the reader? Support your answer with relevant subject terminology and structural features that interest you. So what would you do now? I think it would be a good idea that you watch slides 2 and 3 again, and probably go through slides 6 to 10 again. Of course, because you can stop and start and you can go through that, make sure that you understand the annotations that I have just taking you through. And then if you have, then answer the question. If you have watched video 2, which talks about analysing GCSE English Language, then you will be familiar with how to structure your answer because there's an exemplar there. So if you haven't, I would suggest that you check this out because it will help you to do what you want to do, help you to structure your answer for this particular question using the annotations. And then after that, what I'll say is for all my videos, all you just need to do is type into YouTube Ace Your English with Mrs. A. It will bring all my videos out. So video 1, video 2 is there, and then there will be some more videos afterwards. So you can just type Ace Your English with Mrs. A, maybe put that in your phone or type it somewhere where you will see it and just check it all the time. And then this is the link for the YouTube channel as well. So you might want to take a picture of that, share it with your friend, you know, let more people know of this if this teaching has been beneficial to you. So share the link with your friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel because there will be lots of information from time to time, but there will be these 5 videos first of all. And then check my website for more information because there will be information there as we go along. So I'm hoping this has been beneficial, that you have some more ideas of how to respond to a question on structure. Wishing you all the best, hoping that you will work hard to ace your English, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.